Christopher Wray, the head of political enforcement at the Department of Homeland Security, also known as the FBI, testified before Congress yesterday. Now, I need to warn you, if you are on blood pressure medication or, you got that kind of issue there, this will do nothing to help you. This report today will probably raise your blood pressure. So that's just a fair warning out there. Let's jump into it. Welcome to the Poplar Report. I'm Steve Poplar. I'm an accountant by trade, and we cover things on this channel that the news media does not want you to hear. Christopher Wray, the director of the FBI, which is focused in on almost exclusively the political prosecution of those who disagree with this administration, they had to appear before Congress. And so he comes before them and says some interesting things, such as that the terrorist threats against the United States have reached, quote, a whole other level. In other words, the terrorist threat has never been greater. This is a different level than we've ever seen before. And what does he mean by that? He said, you've seen a veritable rogues gallery of foreign terrorist organizations calling for terrorist attacks against us. Now, I don't know what Hollywood scriptwriter writes his speeches, but let's just parse that one a little bit without all the weird language in it. A veritable rogues gallery? What he's saying is there are more terrorist organizations now calling seriously for terrorist attacks against the United States than ever before. We got lots and lots of organizations calling for terrorist attacks against the United States. And what just started? Ramadan. The holy month where you get extra bonus points for killing infidels, according to some proponents of the religion. Yes. Why haven't we had terrorist attacks up till now? Possibly because the people that are crazy enough, Muslim extremists and such, that believe that killing as many infidels will get them a place with their virgins in heaven. They know that they get extra brownie points if they do it during the month of Ramadan. As twisted as that is, that's where we are. And as we've just entered into the month of Ramadan, are we going to be seeing some terrorist attacks here on our soil and around the globe? Quite possibly. The Houthis just started launching more missile attacks against our ships out in the Red Sea because, it's Ramadan. That's right, friends. When we look at embassy takeovers in the history of the United States, many of them have happened in the month of Ramadan for those very reasons, in Muslim countries and such. So, we have the head of the FBI saying, we have more people, more organizations calling for terrorist attacks against the United States than ever before. So, Senator John Cornyn I have a question then. I have a question. That 9/11 was caused by just a few terrorists in the United States. And then he says that I worry that among the people coming across the border, that there are those who mean us harm. Now, gotta love these Washington types, It's like, let's make this as soft sounding as possible. Let's make this as politically correct as possible. Of the people coming across the border, we're not going to say illegal. We're not going to say that they're breaking the law. We're going to say that, they're just people who happen to be at a location where they're moving. Those people, perhaps they come here to do terrorist attacks. They mean to do us harm. These politicians just absolutely drive me nuts. Anyway, so he asked that question, which is, once you strip all the political niceties out of it, it's a question we all want to ask the director of the FBI, right? And so what does he respond? Do you share that concern? And he says, I do. Are you concerned that some of the people coming across the border are here to do us harm? Yeah, I think so. That's what he says. But then he immediately goes into, but it is not the time to panic. Friends, when the government tells you don't panic, I promise you, it's time to panic. Now, I don't mean panic as in lose your head and do stupid stuff. I mean, you need to get your stuff in gear. You need to realize that whatever they just told you not to panic about is absolutely true. Because now they can't even hide the fact that this is a problem. When they say, oh, well, food supplies are low, but don't panic. They've just admitted the truth, but now now that they can't cover up the truth anymore, they now want to steer your behavior. When there are shortages, I promise you the federal government is the first one in line taking up as much of that resource as they possibly can. They don't want you to panic. They don't want you challenging their place in line. They want to take all of that resource off the table. Once they've fully stocked up on whatever it is, then they'll tell you, okay, yeah, maybe you should do something. Remember how it went down with the cough? Yeah. Remember how they're like, oh, these coverings, they don't do anything. They don't do anything at all. Meanwhile, all the government agencies were buying them up like nobody's business. Oh, you don't need them. They don't do anything. They don't do anything. Once they finish buying them up, then what did they say? Oh, by the way, you need these things. You need them. In fact, we're not going to let you go anywhere unless you have them. And you're going, didn't they just tell me not to buy them? Didn't they just tell me not to get them? Didn't they just tell me that they don't do anything? Friends, if you believe what the government tells you, especially during a time of crisis, you haven't cracked a history book. Because every time in recent history that we've had a crisis and the government told us not to panic, that was a time where you needed to take strong, quick, and thoughtful steps. You need to stop and you need to think hard about the situation. But they're like, no, don't worry about it. We got it covered. You just keep doing your thing. And that's what they're saying now about the border crisis. What they're saying about terrorists here in the United States. I've gotten to a place, and I know some of you guys can't get to that place because of your jobs and everything like that. But going into cities is, I think, a risky endeavor now. It's not a wise thing to do if you can avoid it. I'm just outside Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and I'm not going downtown, especially at night when they have the purge going on. I don't know if you heard about that, but apparently I heard that they were talking about this, and I was like, they'll never actually do that. But now they have stripped the police force overnight down to an extreme minimum force. And then in addition to that, where they have whole precincts that don't have any staff working them at all. And they're not going to show up unless somebody actually gets injured or killed. They're not going to respond unless somebody's injured or killed. If someone's breaking into your house, they're not going to respond. If you're outside your home and they're breaking into your home, like you're staying away and you see it on your security cameras, they won't show up. They've said it. Apart from, people being life in danger, the police in Allegheny County, the city of Pittsburgh, are not going to show up. Which is, even if you're going to do that, advertising that you're going to do that, like, what is this? It's like some twisted, sick experiment to see what happens. Perhaps if we defund the police, all the bad guys will suddenly start playing nice. Maybe if we just start giving free money away, like the universal basic income, that will solve all the economic problems of the world. We see these social experiments coming out, and it's scary to see that social experiment being played out here in Pittsburgh, where a lot of people who happen to be at a place called the border and were moving have now arrived here in the city of Pittsburgh. And they're trying to turn Pittsburgh into a San Francisco, into an LA. They're trying to turn all these other cities around the country, and they're experimenting to see what's the fastest, bestest way to transform these other cities into San Francisco. And and they're working hard at it. And you see these experiments going on all over the country. They're coming up with these insane harebrained ideas like, let's not have police during the night because we don't usually get too many calls at night. Friends, this is what's going down here in Pittsburgh. This is what's happening in our country. And the Department of Political Enforcement, the FBI, has now said that yes, we are concerned that people are coming across the border that are here to do us harm, but you don't need to worry about that. What? The threat of terrorist attack inside the United States has never been higher. And we have more and more terrorists coming into the United States. Just the other month, 17 people who were on the terrorist watch list were caught at the southern border. 17 were caught. Do you know how many are not caught? I mean, if you're on the terrorist watch list, I think you would be trying to actually get across the border without being caught. And the border enforcement guys, now all they do is they pull up a van and wait for everyone to come to them. Because everyone's coming to them in order to get asylum and get the papers so that they can work. If you're being sponsored by foreign terrorist entities, you don't need to work. Your job is to do harm to the United States. They don't need those papers, and so they come in and they bypass the border security guys. And it's super easy to do. This is the situation we have inside the United States, where we have hundreds and hundreds, potentially thousands of foreign terrorists coming into the United States, potentially sponsored by foreign militaries. Many of the people that leave China are able to do so because they get a passport. How do they get the passport? They oftentimes only give passports to people who have a very good reason for having them or are Communist Party members. And one of the easiest ways to get your Communist Party membership is by joining the military. Many of the people that leave China have had military service in the Chinese military. And how many of them are showing up here in the United States? A lot of them. We have a lot of ex-Chinese military personnel here in the United States. And should that be concerning to us? Now, military members are usually, a lot better people, a lot harder workers, but also they have been drilled into their head who they're loyal to. And they're loyal to the country that trained them. How many people inside the United States have had military training from countries that are hostile to the United States? How many Iranian agents are here in the United States? No one knows. And that's concerning. That's very concerning. The FBI is too busy prosecuting people who went into the wrong building on the wrong day. They didn't do anything. They walked around, okay? Whereas we have terrorists who are planning attacks on American citizens inside the United States, and the FBI says it's not time to panic. We're worried about it, but we don't really know what to do about it. That's a summation of our country for you. If you go into cities, you can't defend yourself. Most of these cities will not allow you to defend yourself. They won't let you carry boomsticks. If they do, if somehow, some strange reason they do allow you to carry a boomstick, if you try to use that, you know you're going to get a political prosecution on you. If someone threatens your life, you're still likely to go to prison for a long time. Even if you get cleared of charges, you will have spent potentially a year or more of your life in jail waiting for a trial. You will have to fork out tremendous amounts of money if you don't have insurance for that type of thing to get a lawyer who may or may not know how to defend you, who may or may not want to defend you. Ever think about that one too? Does your lawyer, I don't know. You guys may actually have lawyers. I don't have a lawyer. I'm not rich like that, and I don't think many people do actually have lawyers on retainers or whatever that is. Who would you call if you got into trouble, right? You may know someone who's a lawyer. You may have family friends who know of people who are lawyers. But how much would that cost you? And that's not you attacking somebody. That's somebody attacking you and you defending yourself. It's insane going to cities nowadays. You know that political prosecution is right around every corner. The best thing you can do is run away, right? And hope you can get away. Because even if you win, you may end up in a jail cell. Probably will. Friends, we got serious problems happening in the country, and while the FBI head of political enforcement says don't panic, don't do a Chicken Little and run around in circles with like a chicken with your head chopped off, right? Don't do stupid stuff. Don't make impulsive decisions, but you need to be getting ready. Do you have boomsticks that will be declared illegal in the near future? Illegal to purchase them? You might want to go ahead and get them now. Strongly urge you to do so. Defend yourself. Have ways of defending yourself. Do you have fencing? Do you have security measures? Right? These are things you need to be thinking about. Whatever you do out there, take logical steps to get you to a safer, better place. And moving out of these cities, unfortunately, should be the top of your list. Being in those areas is dangerous. And you know that, I know that, and it's getting more dangerous by the day. All right, friends, thanks so much for watching. If you want to check out another video from this channel, there's one right up here. I'll see you over there, or I'll see you guys later. Steve Poplar of the Poplar Report.